pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The next item on our agenda is approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
I will make the motion.
Ms. Gardner, is there support for the motion to approve the agenda? Ms. Cool, we have a motion and support. Any discussion, addition, deletions to the proposed agenda?
Do we have to put anywhere about finalizing that joint meeting? Does it have to be on here somewhere?
We could certainly do that under new business to affirm the joint meeting. Yes, ma'am.
Tracy and I just had this discussion that in the list of reports, we should probably have had for the longest time Osceola Township water. So we were thinking ASS or B maintenance, C Osceola Township water, and then D, E, F, G, H, I, J. So just, and then going forward after today, we'll adjust it. So that if we have things we have to discuss from
Coming up
that
on the
meeting
water
here,
board.
it can go under there.
Makes perfect sense.
Okay.
Are you adding that in this
Please.
evening?
Yes.
Under which letter?
C.
We'll do it as C and then everything else will bump down a letter.
So C is
Yep.
Osceola water.
So the new agenda from here on out will have that in there.
All right, thank
Okay.
you. Anything else? So we have an amendment to the proposed agenda adding Osceola water as C, and starting with D, Dollar Bay Fire Department, all the way down through supervisor, everything moves down a letter.
Yep.
Yep.
So supervisor becomes J.
Mhm.
Acceptable to those that made and supported the motion? Then, all in favor of the motion to approve the agenda as amended, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next item on our agenda, item 5, is approval of the minutes from our May 12th, 2021 meeting and May 17th, 2021, May 12th, 2021, and special meeting, May 17th, 2021. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from our May 12th, 2021 meeting?
Yes, I'll make the motion.
Motion to approve the minutes from our May 12th, 2021 meeting. Do I have support?
Support.
We have support. Motion from Ms. Gardner, support from Ms. Poole to approve the minutes from our May 12th meeting. Discussion on the motion, suggested additions, deletions, or amendments to the minutes. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion to approve the minutes from the May 12th, 2021 meeting, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Entertain a motion to approve the minutes from our special meeting held May 17th, 2021. We have a motion from Ms. Hool. Do I have support?
I'll support.
Ms. Gardner supports. We have a motion and support for the minutes for the special meeting held May 17th, 2021. Are there any suggested amendments, deletions, corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. We have approved the minutes for both May board meetings. Financial reports, in your packet, you should find financial report for the township, road fund, Mason wastewater fund, Tamarack City water, and Osceola Township water. Anyone have any concerns? Comments on any of the reports? General Township, road fund, Mason wastewater fund, PC water, Osceola Township water. Hearing none, do I have a motion to accept the reports for, financial reports, excuse me, for Township, road fund, Mason wastewater, Tamarack City water, and Osceola Township?
I'll motion.
Ms. Hool moves that we accept the reports. Is there support for the motion?
I'll support.
Ms. Gardner supports. Is Is there any discussion, question, concerns relative to the motion? Or one last time, any of the reports?
I have a question.
Mr. Wareham?
Last month with the big water leak down here in Tamarack, was that water bill paid? Did we pay for the water?
You're asking if last month's water bill from Michigan American was paid in
Yes.
full
Yes.
by the township?
Oh, yeah.
So the sewer was also paid in full?
If the sewer applied, it would have been paid as part of the overall bill. We're still exploring based on the conversation at the TC Water Board.
That's why I'm bringing it up, because I wanna make sure this board was aware of
Okay.
what was
Still looking into that.
Because it didn't go down the sewer, so we're thinking the sewer authority may owe us some money because we already paid them for water that did not go down the sewer.
Oh. What month was that?
Last month, I believe.
Yeah.
So last month, Bob,
Last month, May or April?
I mean, this is a general question,
When
we're having
Weiss-
about all these leaks and
when
stuff like
Weiss's
that.
thing leaked, was that on last month's bill?
2 months.
So we're looking into the April bill, paid in
April?
full by us. The sewer also paid against that water, and that question has been raised and answered to your question.
Yeah, we paid that already.
Okay. It's
No,
general-
that's a good, that's,
Yeah, because it's general information that we need to know.
yeah, okay.
Because you're talking that sewer bill's a big bill. And Bob will even attest it to knock it on the sewer, so.
Right, we'll pull that,
And
we'll pull
also,
that out.
you know, that meeting, we have joint meeting, when we'll be talking about the liability of people.
We'll
who
bring that.
built that way. But okay, I just wanted that question answered.
There will be an answer prior to the joint water board meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, just got it.
Any additional questions or comments? We have a motion on the floor. No. All in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Alright.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Approval of payments of bills from the general fund, road fund, Mason fund, TC Water, and Osceola Township Water.
I guess it's
More than appropriate, if I may footnote, Mr. Warren, bringing it up when you did, this is when the bill was paid.
Right, not just, yep.
We covered your
Financial
issues
report.
successfully, I believe.
Yep.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve payment or accept payment of the bills from the general fund, road fund, Mason fund, TC Water, and Osceola Township Water?
I'll motion.
Ms. Hool, is there support?
I'll support.
There is support. Are there any additional questions, comments, concerns, other than the one already noted under financial reports relative to TC Water's bill? Anything else? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion to accept payment of the bills, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. We're at item 8, public comment. Anybody wishing to address the township board at this time will have up to 3 minutes. You need to only identify yourself and begin to speak, and if you are running close to the time limit, I will let you know. Please identify yourself and the floor will be yours. Mr. Schmidt.
Horace Schmidt, Tamarack City. The state senate has passed 2 bills, Senate Bill 431 and Senate Bill 429. 431 basically preempts municipalities' ability to control whether a gravel pit can be put in anywhere in the township, and then moves it to the state level. And then there are regulations in Senate Bill 429, which gives the Department of Energy, Environment, Great Lakes and Energy, EGLE, the authority to regulate these. The effect of this will be, first of all, that the municipality will lose control over where gravel pits are sited. And then secondly, with the EGLE regulations, that would practically preclude any opportunity for residents to oppose it successfully. So even though we don't have any gravel pits that I'm aware of, I would ask that the board do a resolution and send it to Representative Markkinen to let him know that you oppose both the preemption and the state regulations that are being worked on. It is now in the House, so it's an opportunity for the township to get its word in if it so chooses. And I think this is a problem because this is a part of a long-term preemption of township powers that has been occurring. And the only reason it's being done is because there's a large corporation that doesn't want to go to the trouble of negotiating with municipalities. And the Michigan Municipal League also is against the bill. So I would strongly recommend that you would let Representative Markkinen know that this is not a bill that the township would like passed in the House. So that's all I have to say at this point. Are there any questions?
Thank you very much. Anybody like to direct a question to Mr. Schmidt? Thank you. Anyone else? Floor would be yours for up to 3 minutes. If you would like to offer public comment for the board's consideration. A second opportunity will be provided at the end of the meeting before we adjourn. Please note the time for public comment. We will bring public comment at this moment to a close. Reports. Understanding is that there is not an assessor's report in your packet. Maintenance, there is a brief report from our immediate past maintenance staff person, Mr. Odgers, and our newly hired maintenance person is here, Mr. Reed. Mr. Reed, would you like to offer comment on recent activities for the board's edification?
Sure. Good evening, everybody. Only been in the position for a couple of weeks. Some of the basics that we've been trying to do, got kind of put behind the 8 ball. Everything needed to be cut. There was lots of things going on. We had literally 4 days to go until Memorial Day weekend. So it was a big rush to get Sandy Bottom opened, TC Park up to snuff. We're still not there, but we're using them, and they're looking much better by the day. Also, we spent some considerable time up at the baseball field for the district tournament to get the baseball field into shape. We had put together some bleachers that were there. So we got the bleachers put together and got the field set for the district baseball play. Currently, what we're working on is repairing some of the benches down in Sandy Bottom and repairing some of the picnic tables. I've repaired 3 picnic tables now. They've all been painted, and some of the benches have been painted. So my goal is to finish painting the restroom facility and the rest of the couple of benches that are Sandy Bottom. Then I want to move to Tamarack City and do the same thing with the swings and a couple of picnic tables there. That's pretty much what I have right now. Does anybody have any questions?
Mr. Janke?
I don't have any questions for you, but for you specifically, other than, did you talk about the keys thing at all?
Yes, a footnote, if I may, Mr. Reed, we have addressed that issue. There was a duplicate set of keys in the office, located by Christina, our secretary, and they have been given to our summer assistant, Mr. Janke. And he has been helping Mr. Reed with work, and now has a set of keys to the utility shed. A footnote here, if I may, about a meeting on Monday morning.
Yep.
I'll be meeting with the maintenance staff prior to a meeting with a representative of the Torch Lake Sewage Authority relative to cleaning out our storm drains. And it's my understanding that past conversation with, representative from Travis Engineering that a map will be available to us, I believe, by that time, relative to possible locations of our storm drains. So when we meet with, personnel or person from the Torch Lake Sewage Authority, we'll be able to have identified and point out where the storm drains are, and if need be, have them marked prior to them beginning their work sometime either Tuesday or Wednesday of next week. So, thank you for letting me wedge that in. Anything else?
There is that stuff about Sandy Bottoms that I had, do you wanna talk about that at all,
We're
or?
talking about the beach area and.
Yeah, I mean, just in general, or should we just let that slide for now?
Well, actually, a footnote is, we did have some problem with the, swim buoys, or more appropriately, the line buoys to denote where the water gets deeper and what have you. And a call was made to Julio's staff, Mr. Ebert, who went down there that evening, this was, last week, and did the repairs necessary. And I was told, I believe, by both Mr. Janke and Mr. Reed, that the buoys are back in place at the beach, et cetera. That
Yes,
issue
sir.
has been taken care of.
I don't know what we can do about that. What I saw was a bunch of kids using them as floating devices, let's say.
Or they jump off of
They're,
it.
yeah, and obviously they broke one off or it disconnected it somehow and it was just floating around out there. And my concern when I brought it up, which is what brought the keys up, cause he couldn't get to the truck or something like that, is I wanted him to go pick it up so that it didn't float out in the Portage Lake somewhere. So I don't know what we can do about that. I don't know if there's anything we can do about that, but, there was a lot of people there too, so I don't know, you know, I guess things are bound to happen when it's being used that hard.
With the weather being as hot as it is, it's, the parks have just been full, steady,
Yeah, I
steady.
mean, I don't know, you know, putting something on a sign that's already, you know, I don't know if that's gonna do any good, you know, I'm just not sure. So, I did have some other things too, there's the parking issue that I saw down there.
We're going to explore that as well.
Okay, do you want to talk about that later, or is there?
Well, actually, what we've got to do is, look at its feasibility, and we've got a permit relative to, our culvert to go into the sand pit, and we'll be, flushing that out next week as well about whether or not we're gonna be in a position to gravel up, if you will, the area right off of Sandy Bottom Road and turn it into extra parking.
Yeah, that was the idea that I thought, cause I saw people parking over there anyways, and so my thought was there's been, I mean, I was talking to the people down there, they said they've seen as many as 18 trucks and trailers down there, and we had parking for 6.
Six, seven.
Right.
So my thought was is that we could put an overflow lot on the other side going in towards the sand pit. You know, put some 40 foot deep parking spots over there, just 40 foot of gravel, 40 foot deep, and maybe 10, 12 spaces wide or something like that, so we could have some overflow on that,
That's a great idea.
on that side. And that way they're not parking on our grass, which is what they were doing, they were just parking everywhere.
I did cut that today too, Aaron, in case people were parking over there. I did see some overflow over there as well.
Yeah.
This weekend.
Yeah, I don't know, it's just an opportunity maybe, especially since we're already working on that side over there, and Julio may be in there with some equipment that maybe we can, if we have the money, we could expand that a little bit. I don't know what it would cost, but, there's some exploration there, like you said, you know, to look into that.
A footnote comment, if I may,
Sure.
Mr. Janke, and that is that once the permit is in place to do the culvert, ideally it'll be sooner versus later. It might be an ideal time if Julio is doing the work at the culvert and to talk about.
I mean, it's not a hard addition to do,
Yeah.
you know, we can probably stake out something pretty darn quick. We know about how big it needs to be, you know, so, anyways, it's just a thought, try to help save what little grass we have down there,
Understood.
so. Okay.
Anything else?
No, not at this time. I have other things for Sandy Bottoms, cause I talked to some people down there, but we can discuss those and determine if there's anything worth talking about there later.
Mr. Reed, all set?
Upset?
Thank you very much. C would be the Osceola Township water recommendations coming up from the water board.
So, do we need them?
Yeah, I was gonna deal with the joint meeting.
Fine.
I would, recommendation that came up from the Osceola Water Board and
I think I
also
walked him
from the Tamarack City Water Board is to hold a joint meeting
Yeah, on the
on,
Mm-hmm.
I believe it's Wednesday, June 30th, here at the Tamarack City Fire Hall, beginning at 6 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
Do I have a motion to go forward with that meeting?
I'll make the motion.
Ms. Wareham moves that we go forward with the meeting. Is there support for the motion? Support from Ms. Gardner. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion to go forward with the joint meeting on June 30th, 6 p.m. here at the Tamarack City Fire Hall, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. We've set a date and time for a joint joint meeting of the water boards here in Tamarack City on the 30th of June.
Who has the list of the issues that we need to talk about jointly? Is that?
That's
do we
something
have it
that we're
compiled
in the,
somewhere?
we'll
Working on?
develop our
Yeah.
own internal, one of them's budget, ordinance, there are a number of things
Yeah.
that have come up at both meetings.
Okay,
that We'll all cobble together
okay.
to put an
Make one
agenda.
big agenda.
I wanna
Yeah, one
make sure
big
we don't
agenda.
forget
Oh, yeah,
something.
no, I have a list.
Yeah, okay.
Dollar Bay Fire Department,
Where?
in your packet. Excuse me, Mr. Matfo,
Dealing with the water.
I'm sorry. We'll back up to Osceola Water.
Yeah, if you're not aware, some of you people aren't aware of DNR wants to run the trail on North Amigaloid on the shoulder of the street up there, and that's where our water line is, and that's where our fire hydrants are. And I don't agree with it, and the people that live up there don't agree with it. A lot of them park on that side because there isn't any room to park on the upside. And also you're gonna be dealing with dust and dirt and noise, and it's, to me, it's ridiculous. There will be a meeting coming up with the DNR and, Mr. Urkus from OHM shortly, so. Mark is gonna be.
I've left him a message, he's not gotten back to me to respond to your comment. Thank you. Anything else, Bob? Dollar Bay First Responders are also in your packet. Tamarack City Fire Department. Packet.
No.
Mr. Klein.
What,
There was no written report.
I turned it in Tuesday morning in the box.
I didn't get it. Sorry. Do
It's
you
on
wanna
us.
just do a quick verbal for me, or?
I can't remember what it was.
Okay, that's all right. We'll throw it in there later.
Thank you, Mr. Klein. Our apologies for not scooping your report out. Tamarack City Utility Board, material in your packet, and Bob's comments about Lloyd and what have you relative to snowmobile trail. Torch Lake Sewage Authority. Mr. Schmidt is here. I do not recall seeing a report from Mr. Westfall.
Well, I can provide a little.
Horst, if you would mind,
want.
could you give us a quick overview, if you don't mind, of the last Torch Lake Sewage Authority meeting?
Okay, well, I think the thing that's important is that we're moving along on the new sewage lagoon in the Lake Linden area. And so that, I'm trying to remember, when is it gonna start, Emmett?
The design has already started for both the Lake Linden area and the Tamarack City Lagoon area.
Okay, so we're moving along, our expenses are, and income are in good shape. We have, trying to think if there's anything else of significance at this point. No, I can't think of any more, but we're in good shape.
Mr. Worm, do you have a question?
Yes.
Are you telling me there's another lagoon going out here? Are you telling me that there's another lagoon system going out here?
I thought it was just Lake Linden, but, Mr. Raymond is.
Yes, yep, the lagoon system in Tamarack City is gonna be expanded, just like the Lake Linden system will be expanded as well.
Well, the Lake Linden one is
Brand new
going
news
to
to
be
me.
new, right?
What's that?
The Lake Linden one is going to be new, but it's just an expansion in Tamarack City, is that what you're saying?
No, they're both similar. It's gonna be additional lagoons adjacent to the existing lagoons.
Is the money already available for that, or what?
Yes, the project has been funded to the Torch Lake Area Sewage Authority.
If I may interject, believe that that is part of the increase in sewer rates that,
Well,
fixed to
the way-
Tamarack City residents
Well,
to
wait,
address the
wait.
cost of the expansion?
Well, in order for us to remain in the good graces of the federal and state administrators, we have to increase the rates in order to make sure that the system remains viable over time. And so, they're not tied together because of the lagoon. We are supposed to increase our rates over time. That's what we're doing now. And so, that way, we don't have sudden increases because we're putting in the lagoon. We're just going along gradually. Does that answer your question?
Kind of. I don't, you know how I get on this topic.
Yeah.
I mean, we have two representatives on that sewer authority that are supposedly representing, that we appointed, the board appointed. And we get all this news now. I mean, we never heard anything about this before. So if we have two people on that board, you should be reporting back to this board monthly and let us know what you're thinking. To me.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry if we didn't let you know sooner, but normally Chuck takes care of the briefing.
It's just, you know.
So, but is there anything else that I can?
No, it's just, you know, the people in this town now come after this board and they say, what the heck's going on over here? And we go, we don't know. So, you know, that's embarrassing for us if we don't know anything about it. It just all of a sudden pops up. We're getting a new lagoon out here. Oh, nice.
Well, this has been going on for about a year now, I believe.
I'd never heard of it.
So,
I don't think Mark's heard of it. He's sitting on the same board as I am.
I mean,
Don, if I may, or Don makes an interesting point, and just interjected, perhaps something for consideration by this board is an expectation that its representatives to the Torch Lake Sewage Authority, such as yourself and Mr. Westfall, would come to this board on a regular basis to report activities that are impacting the residents of Tamarack City and all that participate with the sewer project. And I think that is a reasonable expectation, and if we use tonight as precedent, you're here and have given us a report, we begin to look at something like this happening on a regular basis to keep the residents here informed through the township board and by their participation in our board, so.
well, I'd be happy to get the reports from our monthly meeting to you, or to other board members, if that would be helpful.
We do get that.
You get agenda.
Normally we get the agenda in your minutes. We normally get that.
I mean, it's like this packet here for tonight. We have something similar in terms of all the different things that are going on. So that's, if I give that to you, then you'll have an update on what's occurring, and as well as asking questions of us.
I think that, not to belabor the point if I may, but we do receive a detailed packet. There's selected materials that come to this board to maintain some size relative to what the township board received. But what Don is suggesting, and I think we would like to request going forward, perhaps in a formal way to the Torch Lake Sewage Authority and then to our membership on the board, is that one or both of our members come on a regular basis to the township board meeting, regardless of location, so we can have this kind of discussion and dialogue. So,
Is there more usage now? Is that why we need another lagoon, or what happened?
I'm sorry.
Why do we need another lagoon?
Well, because, we're in violation of state regulations now, and we're only in the good graces of the, Eagle at this point, because, we have we keep following, minimum discharges. Our problem is we need a larger lagoon is, we need to be able to hold all the waste through the winter. And they don't want frequent discharges into Torch Lake.
Right.
And so, if when we build this lagoon, then that eliminates the problem that we currently have, which is having to discharge during different times of the year rather than at the time that is allowed the larger.
So the 20 years that's been out there, we've been discharging into the lake? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, both sets of lagoons do that.
May I offer a suggestion is that we have a more detailed discussion about this issue at our July meeting and ask our representatives to be present, provide us with an update?
Well, if it's possible, would you be able to, give me an idea of what kind of matters you're interested in, so that I'm prepared to, talk and also Mr. Westfall about this? It'll make it easier for us to know what you're after in terms of, information, whether it's financial or whether it's.
I think that's a reasonable request.
Yeah, that's all I need. Be happy to, report. And, don't, not have, Mr. Wareham have problems with the surprise that I popped on him tonight, unintentionally, but.
I'm done now, let's move on.
Thanks, George. Don, thank you. I appreciate the additional dialogue, and we now have, I think, a direction to move in to receive broader information at future meetings from our representatives on the Torch Lake Sewage Authority. Thank you. Mason Sewer Project update. Mr. Sira.
I'm Jim Sira, I'm the guy taking care of the mason there. Mark, Bob and I have been pumping water in there, and I was just talking to Bob, we're gonna continue, I think, to pump water in there till we get most of the houses tied in, cause I think if we only have a couple of houses in there, I don't want that thing getting stagnant down there. You agree with that?
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna continue to run water in there till we get maybe 20 of the houses tied in, and see how much we're pumping in. And I talked to you on June 2nd there, and then checking for permits, and June 3rd, I went up to courthouse there, permits there, and Burkhart's got 3 of them there, and he's gonna be starting 2. But I needed to get the names of the people there, cause Sandy or Sarah, and I don't recall which name she had. And she said it'd be a lot easier than looking through the sheets, looking just for Mason if I had names to see who's pulling permits. So I called Kristen there, Christina.
Christina, she's aware of it. I think she's working on it for you.
Okay. So, checking, we got 3 permits pulled so far by Tony Burkhardt. I haven't had anything else done with there. Then on Monday, I met with you at the office there, and we went over quite a few things there. I've asked about getting a zero-turn mower pretty soon, cause on Quincy Hill, I've cut my grass maybe half dozen times already. And I don't wanna get up there with a hayfield there.
Is it possible that we may have to use the maintenance mower around?
To dovetail into future comment under the UP engineering report, the mower is in, and all we have to do this evening is decide on a trailer, and they will deliver almost immediately to get our mower and trailer here. We have an issue in that the trailer originally approved by this board was for up to $1,600. That trailer is not in stock and apparently is not available. In your packet, there is a handwritten pair of estimates, one for $2,000, one for $2,500. The recommendation would be for the less expensive of the two. It's an upgrade from what we've approved and should be more than adequate, and the trailer, I believe, is in stock. So the mower and trailer would be available within a matter of days for our utilization.
Okay. All right.
That's an actionable item on
Okay.
UP engineering. So thank you for asking the question.
I will continue checking up at the courthouse, pulling permits, and nobody's called me, asking for any information. And that's where we stand about now, just, I wanna, you know, get up there and cut grass there before I have to bring a brush cutter in there. But even if you got a big motor there, I cut some grass on Quincy Hill and I got 30 horsepower there, and when I went over the grass like this, it's still bogging down. It's just, can be a struggle. Then we have to ask the question about where we're gonna store this.
That's definitely one of those things on our list here.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. And then, what about gas for that there? You know, when I start cutting there, do we have gas, 5-gallon cans somewhere, or do I just pay for it, you guys will reimburse me?
I think, Bob, who are you getting gas from? Do you have an account for the water department there?
No, I just use a card.
What's that?
I got a card.
You got a card, well, maybe we need to just set them up with the same thing.
Yeah.
We'll have to set you up with that, either that or we get something like at Dave's or something like that, we get an account started, you know, I don't know what the maintenance guys are doing, but.
They have
credit cards.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe
It'll
we
be specific to the Mason account.
We're gonna go in.
We'll get one set up.
Yeah, you probably wanna keep it separate
Yeah.
from the water, you don't want.
We do,
Yeah.
everything will be under Mason sewer.
Okay. And I think storage, and, like, we talked about the one person being sick, probably won't be tying in there.
Yeah.
And I just talked to Bob there at car dealership, they have no running water, they never tied into the water system. So, I don't think they're gonna be tying into the sewer.
That doesn't get them out of the infrastructure bill, I
No.
don't think, but, we might have to check on that, Emmett, to make sure that we have a vehicle to make them pay for the infrastructure portion of that sewer bill. Just because they don't wanna hook up doesn't necessarily mean it gets them out of it, I don't think. Do you have a viable structure?
It's available.
Yeah, my
I think that's
understanding
what
was
the
they-
ordinance
We're available to serve, and I think they have to pay that bill, but I'm not certain.
Yeah, we'll have to look in.
That was my
No, they're
understanding.
200 feet within.
Yeah.
They're within 200 feet of tie-in, or maybe your ordinance is different than Franklin Township, if you're within 200 feet, your main lateral, you
Well,
have to tie in.
their excuse is probably because they're not hooked up to water, which is mean they're not gonna have a water meter, which means they're not gonna have a water bill. You know, that they're gonna get out of this part of it, and I don't think that holds, so,
Do they pay the debt retirement?
yes. That's what I'm saying, is that
Yeah,
it doesn't
it
get
may-
you out of it.
And it may apply to the water system as well.
Yeah.
It actually probably does.
Yeah, we gotta take a look at those ordinances and look potentially at an enforcement issue
Yep.
about, because it's about availability.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're
inside the
gonna be
block.
taking
Yeah.
and putting extra burden on the remaining customers, you know.
Mhm.
I know we've lost a couple structures there, one was taken down via our, light ordinance stuff, but, anyways. Are we talking about the guy with the shop, or is there another one too?
Just
Car
car
dealer.
shop.
The car dealership,
Car
yeah,
car.
that's the only one that's not hooked up?
Correct.
We'll look into the ordinances.
Does
see
he?
what applies.
Okay, all right.
Jim, anything else?
Yeah, covers about everything there.
Any additional questions of Jim? Thank you, sir. Supervisor's report, and I've been practicing,
Really?
yes.
He's gonna get.
Put the timer on, I've been accused of being just a tad long-winded, I'll see what I can do. I have a meeting scheduled with the township's attorney tomorrow at 11 in Marquette. I have other business down there, so this will be a trip that I'll make, and I'll take advantage of being in Marquette to meet with Pat Greeley. The issues that we'll be discussing include the 6th Street M26 property here in Tamarack City relative to the fire, and the judgments against the property owner. MDOT agreements, he's had a chance to review them, but a trip out of town that was extended because of extenuating circumstances did not permit him to get a written comment back to us relative to the proposed MDOT agreements. He does have some questions, we will be going over that tomorrow as well. We'll be looking into the Liquor Control Commission activities relative to township and enforcement. And we will lastly be discussing, that I have on my notes here, Public Act 495, which apparently allows a municipality or unit of government to put a hold on the payment of an insurance company's payment for property damages the result of a fire. That's my understanding of it. We are not participating in that, and the property at the corner of 6th and M26 had a fire, but we, not being participants in this act, as I understand it, we are not able to put a hold on the final 20% of the payment for damage done until the property's cleaned up. So we're back to picking up on our court orders. The last one was in August for that property, and it needs to be updated. With regards to ice rink, update very quickly, I did talk with Andy Wilcox. He did send me yesterday 4 different websites relative to boards, and the review process has begun. Hopefully, by our next meeting, I'll have this all flushed out with a recommendation. He did indicate that in all likelihood, we will get to our maximum under our coverage, which is $25,000. And he offered it, I didn't ask. So I suspect that what we're going to have to purchase or would like to purchase is going to be at least at that figure, if not exceed it. But I'll have more information at our next meeting. Torch Lake Sewage Authority, I've already talked about the proposed meeting on Monday, with work to begin on the 15th or 16th relative to our storm drains in Dollar Bay. And I believe with John Paul here from Travis Engineering, I think I mentioned to you, if I may impose upon you at this moment, about the availability of a map. And you said you'd look and try to have one available relative to our storm drains in Dollar Bay proper.
And I looked at that, we had an old proposed plan, was the master plan for the storm water, which was
Okay.
done 20 years ago. We don't have a map that shows all the existing storm drains
Okay.
that are in Dollar Bay. I mean, the stuff around the school is probably, you guys may have.
I just said that when I was looking through it on Sunday, when I was there with Bob, we were looking at stuff, for East Street over there, is there's the stuff that those drawings from the school should get into our records as well, even though that was a school project. Because there's a bunch of sewer there. I did see, some sewer stuff there, that there was some work that went over to the, up East Street, so there was some stuff across the way there. And then there is some of the stuff that Dick had done on the other end of town, for some of the drainage ways, and I don't know how much, how much catch basin or French drain type systems are over there, but we really, on a side note, we really need to find a way to compile all this together a little bit, so that we actually have something that this is our, as feeble as it is, our storm drain system, I don't know how we can go from that, but I do have some stuff from the school end for sure, but there's a lot of French drains around town that are probably on no maps. Maybe we get the maintenance guy, I would go out there, or maybe I don't know how we wanna handle this to try to start, at least get a crude map together right now, or maybe we get Leclerc or somebody just to shoot some points out there real quick or something like that, to try to run around and grab some points and some depths, maybe pop some covers and get some depths, so we have some information anyways.
They have some historic information from us for past work that they've done, but the intent is to, under the circumstances, we'll ask Mr. Rogers, our former maintenance person, to join us perhaps on Monday, and then the staff can go out with Mr. Rogers and identify the storm drains that he's aware of for this cleaning.
Undoubtedly, something's gonna get missed under
Yeah,
that.
he's
but-
offered his services, and they have some parameters relative to what they will and will not clean. We'll know more about that after the Monday meeting. But
Okay.
they are available, they've been very busy, we've been persistent in trying to get them, and
We gotta try to be as ready as we can for them then, when they come.
I had also suggested possibly putting the word out there, because obviously the residents are gonna know if they have a drain. We could try piecing.
Yeah, I mean,
it
we've heard
together.
from some people, but maybe that's the thing to do. That's not a bad
That's a
idea.
great idea, yeah.
I mean, hey, we're inviting that we know that there is problems in town for some drainage issues, and some of it's not related to whether or not there's even a drain there or not, but, we'll have to take and sift through some of that stuff
Yeah.
probably.
word of mouth will move quickly. If we post something at
Post it on
the
the
post
website,
office,
keep
get
it
it up on the
okay.
website.
Probably a good
Put it
idea.
on our door, that's a great idea. Let's add that to the list then.
It would be good to start getting a compiled map of what we have though.
Well, I know you were hopeful, but apparently there isn't one, so thank you, appreciate that, John Paul. move in a different direction then. Anything else on storm drains? Blight, been working on parking, there has been some improvement in that area, excuse me, ordinances, I said blight, and it really is ordinances, and I jumped to parking. Parking is improving slightly, we are trying to get people to quit parking on the sidewalk as though it's part of their driveway. And there are still a few instances
Still
where
not,
it's going on.
that one place is still not fixed.
Well, and then I will call the owner again.
He's
And
still doing it.
I'm gonna.
I know school is gonna be out here, if it isn't, is it out this week, or is it?
This week.
This week, so I obviously,
More
some of that
kids on the
stuff,
sidewalk.
well, I mean, and you're not getting them walking to the school anymore though, so you're not forcing them out onto the road, right, you know, Brett, but, there's still gonna be kids out, you
Yeah,
know.
and bike riding and what have you.
Yeah, so,
Well, I know exactly what you're talking about, I'll call the owner again.
yeah.
I've had a couple
He's
conversations.
using that one, he doesn't put it in the garage, he just goes and parks right in front of the door, and then of course the kids have to walk out on the road now because he's parked there like it's his driveway.
Point well made,
So-
we're on it. With regards to blight, dealing with, house we talked about on a number of occasions, did hear from the property owner, he had a couple of health issues earlier, in the month, but assured me, that he would be on it. I asked him to drop his revised plan off before the end of the week, and our expectation is progress will be made by the end of the month. Cleaning up, otherwise we've gotta move in a different direction around enforcement, so we're hopeful something will happen there. I've got a meeting pending right now with the Calumet Township Supervisor looking at two issues. One is the Golf Course Road. In numerous conversations over the last several weeks with members of the Township Board, concerned citizens, members of the Road Commission staff et al., we've come to a conclusion that Golf Course Road turn, up by the Calumet Golf Course is in both Calumet Township and in Osceola Township. They have the east side, we have the west side, and we've got an estimate of $40,000 to fix the turn. I did raise that figure in an earlier conversation this week, and the last week, excuse me, with Tim up at Calumet Township, and suggested we meet on that. I have a call into him as recent as today to set something up. There's a second issue that I'm also putting on the agenda, and that is the pending purchase of Michigan American Water by Calumet Township. So I've mentioned that in a conversation with him and hope to discuss that issue with him as well. The ball field used by Lake Linden has concluded. They lost in the district play-in game a week ago.
Who's over there right now?
Right now, Little League teams from Portage Little League are using the field for practice, and Christina
There was
has
a
a
game.
schedule.
There was a game going on over there today.
If there's a game going on, it isn't a game that I'm aware of.
So did you were gonna say there's a schedule, is there a way, cause I just got a request from the, school, they're gonna have a reunion, a school reunion, and they wanted to use it on a specific date, and I said I'd ask you guys if there's, how do people call and reserve that thing now? Alright,
Christina has a master schedule.
okay, alright.
And we're filling it up. We have 3 or 4 Portage Little League teams using the field for practice, not for games. Lake Linden coach, Mr. Sutherland, sent a very nice text to me within the last 24 hours, thanking the township board for its approval of using the field, its support, and is offering some ideas for field improvement for the
Okay.
coming year that he's suggesting we work on jointly, and we'll set up a meeting ideally sometime this summer to go over his thoughts and ideas as we prepare for next year. So the ball field was used, its improvements, many of them are, should be credited to the Lake Linden coach and his team and sponsors, because they put a lot of time in, along with our maintenance staff and others that volunteer time to go up and help. But the bleachers got put together, et cetera, as you heard earlier. The field was utilized, and by all accounts, there are many others that want to use it as well. The Houghton County June Recreational Authority meeting has been canceled. Normally would take place second Monday of the month. We will not meet again until July. And I'm working with, but have not talked in recent days, with the Houghton County Historical Society representative around dredge access issues, no trespassing signs, etc. We're also looking at that for the Tamarack City mill site, putting up at least 4 no trespassing signs. Maintenance has already been alerted to that. I discussed this with our insurance agent, and he assures me that when I get the descriptions, land descriptions of the properties, such as by the dredge and the mill site, old mill, he'll put them on our list if they're not already on there as covered by our liability insurance. So we'll address that issue. Mr. Worms brought to our attention on a couple of occasions the fact that pieces of the old mill site are falling to the ground. And if people go up there and get hurt, we could be liable because we own that property. But we're covered right now, we just need to get descriptions. I understood Mark Hunwell.
Like the legal
Yeah, the description of the property,
plot?
like, yeah, the plot.
Okay.
I haven't had a chance to talk with him about
That's
that.
fine. I can get
We
them.
also are looking into the insurance requirements in the proposed licensing agreements with MDOT. They're aware of that as well, so. That's pretty much what I've got from a supervisor's standpoint. It's an informational update. Mr. Jenkins.
Quick questions, I know you have a full plate. One was the mill site in Mason. We had talked about, are you gonna talk about that with our attorney by any chance?
I'm gonna talk about it with both the attorney and with the people from the Historical Society, because that's private property.
I understand, but
Yeah.
I'm looking at it from a blight endangerment type of angle here.
And I don't think it's been slapped on as a historic site in any way, shape, or form, so.
I'm just.
I'll bring it
just-
up tomorrow.
Yeah, and then the other thing was are you gonna talk to him about the water stuff that we have going on at all, in terms of, you know, the leaks or any of that, as far as our ordinances go? Has he looked into our ordinances?
I haven't
maybe?
raised, you're talking about our attorney?
Yeah,
I have not raised that with him, but I certainly can tomorrow.
I don't know, I mean, their ordinance is just like any
Yeah.
other ordinance, you know, so it might be,
Nope.
something to just grab an opinion from him before we have our joint meeting.
I have 45 minutes of his time, so I will,
Yeah,
I'll try to.
sounds
shoot
like you got
one.
about an hour and a half worth of stuff to do in 45
Yeah.
minutes, so.
I was practicing tonight, I think I did a little bit better.
Okay, I'll let you end the timer.
Thank you. Any additional questions, comments, or issues for me to? If not, then it's my report, and we move on to item 10, unfinished business. Travis Engineering FEMA project update and permit update.
I'll make it quick. So then, I've talked several times about the 4 projects that'll be involved in with the FEMA, in Dollar Bay there. So that map just gives you an idea where they're at. The permit has been submitted for Sandy Bottom for the boat launch area in the beach, and the culvert to the sand pit that we've discussed, Mark.
Yep.
That was all submitted as one package.
Okay.
So, once they are received, then the package will be put together to bid out. So,
Do you have a timeline for that, John?
we're dealing with the Corps, so we can all guess at that, but we'll see how it goes.
Ideally sometime this summer.
But yeah, for sure, and that was my hope, that once we get to 2-3 weeks here, that we phone call and make sure, you know, if we can keep things moving. The legal part of it moves faster, and the Corps is always the time issue, so. It's a very simple, we're moving debris off of the boat launch, so we're not dredging the bottom, it should be simple, but, so, anyway, I'll discuss it with her and see if we can move it forward.
Thank you. Any questions of John Paul? Thank you very much, appreciate it. Next item is update and action items, UP Engineering. Emmett, the floor is yours.
Yep. We got 2 quotes for the sanitary sewer service extension of 21 feet at the Mason House Residence 4990. The quotes were for,
I believe that information is in your packet. There's 2 quotes, one from Webben and one
yep,
from,
the Webben quote was the low quote for $2,500. And there was also a second quote from Gold Standard for $3,880.
I don't have it.
What we'd recommend is going forward with the Webben Construction low bid of $2,500 to complete this work. I had a discussion with him before I came here, and if approved by the board, he would call in his missed dig. Utility locates tomorrow, and hopefully get to this work as soon as possible, which would be middle to the end of next week when
Do we have a written?
utilities are there.
Written?
No, actually, there should have been, didn't I, thought I put that in your packet.
I don't have it.
My apologies.
As long as it's written somewhere.
What was the weapon and then who was the second
The
one?
weapon was 2880, was it not?
The weapon was 2,500.
2500, okay.
And what was the other one?
The other one was gold standard, 3,880.
That's,
Okay.
that's identified as an action item on our agenda tonight. To approve one of the two contractors to put the township line from the service, from the sewer line as a lateral to the property line for
Correct.
the resident to hook up to,
Correct.
21 feet.
Yes.
I will make a motion to go with, Webben.
We have a motion to go with Weapon Contracting for the 21-foot lateral. That's the proper way to phrase it. Is there support for the motion?
I'll support.
There's support. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, we'll have a roll call vote on the motion to approve Weapon Construction for the 21-foot lateral to the property line relative to the Mason Sewer Project.
Ms. Gardner?
Yes.
Mr. Jenke?
Abstain.
Mr. Wareham?
Yes.
Mr. Hopla?
Yes?
Yes.
Motion carries. Emmett, we also have the mower trailer. That we do have information in the packet on. Plus everybody's had a chance to look at. Do I have a motion to approve either of the trailers?
What was the price on the one we can't get?
The one we couldn't get, I believe, was $1,600.
That's the one we approved?
That's the one we approved, but apparently it's out of stock and they can't get it. We're offering ones that are available to them now, or they're in stock.
For $400.
Which
Right.
there's still money in the grant
There's
to
still money in the
cover
grant.
the extra.
I will make that motion.
To approve which
The
one?
$2,000.
Motion from Ms. Poole to approve the $2,000 trailer for the mower for the Mason Sewer Project. Is there support for the motion?
I'll support.
Ms. Gardner. A motion and support to approve the $2,000 mower trailer. And that Northland, what the name is, Northland, I don't have my paper in front of me.
I don't know, and his card says LeBlanc Sales and Service.
Yeah, that's where it used to be.
Yeah.
It's
That's
like
his letterhead anyways.
North, oh, it is Northland something.
Northland Service or Northland Sport or something.
I'll look it up.
Look it up, Larry. I apologize for not having that information immediately
Gave them
available.
recently, maybe in here.
So we have a motion and support to approve the $2,000 trailer for the Mason Sewer Project. Is there any discussion on the motion?
Excuse me, Mark. One quick question. Are they gonna have like a deck with a wheel in the front there so you can roll that trailer around easy?
That's my understanding, but let's confirm that before they deliver it.
Okay.
We have to make sure that's the same thing we asked for on the
Yeah.
I
other.
mean, there's more discussion, but we can finish this, but, I mean, we gotta figure out where he's gonna stash it even.
Yeah, that's a key issue, but it takes us off the motion, you're right?
Yeah, let's finish this.
Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, we'll have a roll call vote, purchase the $2,000 trailer for the mower for the Mason Sewer Project.
Ms. Gardner?
Yes.
Mr. Jenke?
I think you still have to abstain on that
Okay.
one.
Mr. Wareham?
Yes.
Mr. Hopla?
Yes.
Yes.
Motion carries. Purchase of a trailer. Now we have other issues that will require further discussion either tonight or at a future meeting, but they will deliver. We'll need a place to park it, right now.
I mean, I don't know, Bob, can he park it down at the water down there in the back there? I mean, it's an expensive mower and trailer now, I hate to just leave it sitting, it's not gonna fit in the maintenance shack. You know, I ain't gonna put it nowhere else, you can't gonna sit it on the side of the ball field over there, so,
Take the door
I-
later, the maintenance.
yeah, we're gonna have to do something.
No, you can park it in.
So can you bring it down there at least?
Is it a secure place?
Well,
Secure.
copy the
Oh,
key
yeah.
then, so
And
that
we'll,
he can-
we'll have it delivered at a time when we can get into
On this one?
the,
We're gonna have to look at making that water building bigger, or we're gonna have to come up with another solution here somewhere.
we did discuss at one time approaching Mr. Polisari about renting space. in his
Yeah, that's
store.
temporary.
That's temporary too, but we do need a permanent
That's
solution.
true.
Rick Grubb has
Rick
that
Grubb has
new
that building too, he may
big
be willing to
building.
rent space
Rent
out at
space.
least temporarily.
Right now, we have
I
a place that we
agree.
can store it with the water system.
Yeah,
I mean,
We
it's
gotta
gonna,
find an answer.
yeah, I mean, we can put something down there for now, but we're
yeah.
gonna have to come up with something.
Bob, can you make him a copy of the key so that? Thank you.
Thank you. When we have a temporary solution to the parking problem, we'll have to address a permanent solution as early as our next.
Yeah, I mean, that water storage building and stuff is not big enough to do this permanently, so, you know, it's gonna have to, we gotta come up with something else.
We gotta go for something for winter, for sure.
Yes.
We'll make an agenda item for the next meeting.
Yeah.
Were you going to add something else, Ms. Gardner?
No.
The last item we've got are UP engineering requests. There are action items from your perspective tonight on draws, I believe.
Yep. We have, the reimbursement O and M cost expense of $53.55 for the electrical cost at the lift station, I believe. And then also a UPEA invoice of $1,202.10. So the total draw is $1,255.65.
Any
Oh.
questions of Emmett before I ask for a motion? Do I have a motion to approve the resolution specific to the draw in the amount of?
$1,255.65.
Thank you very much for the record, on behalf of UP Engineering.
I'll make a motion.
Motion from Ms. Gardner, is there support? Mr. Wareham supports. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, we'll have a roll call vote on the motion. Ms. Wolf?
Ms. Gardner,
Yes.
Mr. Jenkins,
Abstain.
Mr. Wareham,
Yes.
forgot your name. Mr. Osceola.
Yes.
Sound like me today.
Motion carries. Emmett, anything else from your perspective?
Nope, no.
Be in touch. We've been rolling on this.
I'll be in contact with Webben tomorrow,
Please, on our behalf,
and I'll keep you updated.
would you please? As you may have-
And Jim as well, too.
Yep.
Jim.
As you heard, I'm in Marquette tomorrow, just leave me
Oh,
a
yeah.
message, please keep us appraised.
Yep.
Thank you.
Wouldn't matter to me.
Hey, Mark, should point out so everybody knows I'm gonna be out of town for Thursday, I'm going downstate for a funeral, I'll be back Monday.
There won't be, this work won't start until
Yeah.
the middle of May next week.
But I just want people to know.
Thank you, Jim, for that
That's another
update.
possible option.
Anything else under unfinished business? Emmett, that's it?
That's it.
Done? Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Under new business, Road Commission 2021 work plan. Document was distributed this evening.
I would think so.
So everybody should have a copy of a draft, two-sided, relative to proposed activities for the Road Commission. The way this is laid out, hopefully it's easy to see, easy to understand, is that precinct 1 shows available funds of $44,900. We have a commitment for $8,000 for blacktop surface, that's on E Street here in Tamarack City, they're finishing up the project up on the hill. We also have, calcium chloride on Dover Road, I believe there are 11 sites for that. The township cost is $1,584, homeowners have contributed $504 to extend. That money has come in from the homeowners, and all of the calcium chloride projects identified on this worksheet have already been signed off on and the contract executed. There primarily is an informational item, but the 1,584 plus the 8,000 will be drawn out of the 44,900 to cover costs. 504 will be deposited or held out as part of payment on that bill when it comes in on behalf of the homeowners on the Dover Road. Precinct 2, there's some FEMA work that's going to be completed. Upper and Lower Point Mills Road Junction and Woodside. This is where we have some options. They did originally provide us option A, an overlay for Woodside, 700 feet at the cost of $14,000. That's aspect because of, for consideration, but also knowing that we could defer that based on a conversation I had with Mr. Sema saying that that piece of road is really in pretty good shape. And 3/4 of Woodside Road, or up to 3/4, is gonna be covered by the FEMA project there. So, he is offering for our consideration a suggestion to set that $14,000 cost there aside and look at other opportunities to expand service on other roads. For example, Cedar Street from Main Street, this is the road near the post office, 200 feet, $10,000. First Street from M26, $30,000. We're with option A, may not have made this entirely clear for Christina when she was typing it, but our costs would be $14,000 higher for First Street. If we do 400 feet, it'll cost us $30,000. If we do 600 feet, it'll cost us $45,000. The suggestion is that we set aside the Woodside project and do 600 feet on First Street and use the $45,000 for that project. So we would spend 10 on Cedar Street and 45 on First Street. We don't have an estimate yet for painting the center line on Main Street and other painting there. We also, I was asked at an impromptu meeting on cost for putting in the goosenecks to look at resurfacing an entire block on East Street or Elm Street in Dollar Bay, rather than the 8 or 9 patches that would go across there. The total cost to do 650 feet would be at $8 a foot, or $52,000 to cover a 650 foot approximate block.
How long is
length.
that block from 6th to 5th? Is that about 650? Is that what that was?
His measurement was from Main Street to Fifth Street.
Okay, that's six.
He also is suggesting that he would make it not just the width of the current surface road, but also cover the gravel shoulder, very much like it's covered on First Street.
That, we need to stick with that section, that road section that we used for 6th Street.
Okay.
For the one that we did for the school, that's more of the road section we wanna see, you know, that wider section, I guess, you know. For anything that we do new,
Yeah, that's.
So we're.
not this one lane
Yeah,
with gravel on the
Yeah,
sides.
Both sides, yeah, he would gravel one side 8 feet wide, there would be right up to the sidewalk on that block,
Yeah,
blacktop.
yes.
And that would run from,
Is that
The
6th to
one-
5th?
well, this is, he just estimated one block. He
Okay,
chose
okay.
Main Street to Fifth Street,
Okay.
and it's an
Well, that's a
estimated
starting
length.
number anyways.
But he put down the cost per foot, so once
Okay.
there's a formal measurement of that, that's approximately $52,000. If we do, all of the work, including the, project on Woodside, it'd run about $121,000. If we take Woodside out of the equation, we'd be in the 106 to 110,000 depending on length, so some,
I did take a ride on Woodside, and that first section might be some of the best road in the township right now, or in the community. It seems weird to resurface that when I have so many words.
Oh, yeah.
I know there's a FEMA project there already, but that section right there from the highway to the corner, that's the section we're talking about, right? That's the best, I'd say, other than Main Street, or other than the street that we just did to the school,
yeah.
that might be the next best section we have.
And that was the overlay for 14,000, he's saying skip that. and
I think we're way
recommend
better
skipping
off
that.
going to the 600 feet, and that's gonna take us to C. Does that take us all the way to C? That's,
I'll get a formal measurement from him,
yeah, hopefully that gets us to the C intersection there.
so we would do
Oh, I hope so.
Cedar Street by the post
I know
office,
exactly what you're talking about.
600 feet on First Street, and then we have,
I'm still concerned about these trails that we're crossing too, but,
Oh.
you know, it is what it is so far, but
committing that right now would be, without the overlay, we're looking at 45 and 10.
well, knowing this, we really need to get the water thing straightened out, cause if this is, I don't know how far away this little number is and how, you know, but it's, if we're gonna do those services, we wanna get in on this deal.
Right.
I don't think our time frame is,
Right.
it's not huge.
Mm-mm.
I don't even know if we can wait a month. When was this supposed to happen?
Well, he'd like an answer on this as soon as possible. And we can plan for it. So my recommendation is that we do the Cedar Street 200 feet, we do 600 feet on First Street, so that gets us to 55,000. And then we set aside money to do a block, paying our share of the cost, to do what, some of it would come out of the water system budget.
Yeah.
As part of the patching, most of it would come out of ours if we do this length, because the patches aren't that wide. Say they're 4 feet or whatever, 4 times 9 is 36 feet, so, but that cost would be borne by the water system. We would still be left, given that we have 131,546 in the account, we would have some resources left for other roads, and he is willing to look at July, August, September work on our behalf as well. So, the recommendation would be, if we are going to do one entire block, replacing goosenecks, setting aside between 50 and 55,000 to cover the cost of the.
And the valves are good on both sides. Hey, we did the ones on 6, and the 5th Street one is good right now? The main valve? Yeah, okay. No need to replace that one. It's good operating. Okay.
So 10K, 45K, and 52K estimate. It's 107,000. Oh, I know what I did over here, 106, because I used 14.
I mean, I'm of the opinion we put all these on the slate, but the problem is that we need to get our water stuff taken care of before he can do the, otherwise we're just wasting our time.
The full block will be done by the road commission, so there's a little tiny bit longer time frame. According to John, the blacktop plant isn't even fully operational yet, they're only doing it.
So we got a little bit of time
We
here.
got a little bit of time, but if we pull the trigger on those 3 roads in precinct 2 right now, and I alert him before the end of the week or on Monday, when I pull all this together, then we're gonna get on his schedule.
I'd be interested to know how much money we can get if we started putting a $5 raise in on that water, or even a $3 one or something, if we did this soon.
Start somewhere.
And get that going, and then look at if there's any money available to help offset, you know, that's sitting there that, I don't know if we gotta go back to last year's audit or something, you know,
Mhm.
I don't know what the
Yeah, we'll
solution
have to
here
go
is.
to the audit. That's what I was looking for. I didn't bring my bag, so I don't have it with me.
If I may, again, the recommendation is to do the 200 feet on Cedar, 600 feet on First Street, and to cover 1 block of Elm Street.
That's what I'm saying we should do.
And I would estimate the cost somewhere in the 107 to 110,000 range, leaving us at least a nominal amount of money in the account to cover painting and miscellaneous going forward.
There's more money coming.
There is more money coming, and this has nothing to do with the money set aside out of the COVID-19 relief package. This is just money available
in the
inside
road fund.
precinct two's
So
account.
you know how I feel about that
Yeah.
COVID money, I feel like, depending on what they say we can and can't use it for, I
Have
would like to
direction
use it,
relative to those funds,
I would like to use it for
For the
things
money.
that don't have revenue sources right now,
Right.
so,
so that's the recommendation
you
there.
know what I mean?
Absolutely.
If I may, if you flip it over, thinking that we can cover all of these in one motion.
Yep.
Precinct 4, Millionaire Street, 600-foot length, $20,000, there's a 0 missing.
Hmm.
Apologies. Store Street, 600 feet, more, this is from, on Millionaire, it's from US 41 back 600 feet. Store Street, 600 feet back from 41. Golf Course Road is on there only because if we're successful with our discussions with Calumet Township, we wanna be able to move quickly, so that's dependent. So if we include that in the motion, we wanna make sure that everybody understands that's dependent on Calumet Township joining us, because we don't wanna pay.
Is it
for
just
it.
Calumet or is there Torch Lake too in there?
Torch Lake is further down,
Okay,
along with Schoolcraft further down, but the turn itself, that has got the broken up blacktop
I
right now.
mean, this thing
is
goes, if you
Calumet.
look at that though, it goes down around the corner, and it almost goes to that hill.
Yes.
Okay,
But Calumet Township runs partway down the road, but according to John Sema, it's Calumet and us on that turn, where the old blacktop is.
okay, I'm just saying, it definitely goes farther than you think around that corner. It goes,
It's almost, instead of crest of the hill going down.
well, you come down around and it goes down, and then it kinda goes up to another hill right there, and it's,
Oh yeah, it runs all the way down, I mean, you don't get into just Osceola Township till you're in.
I guess what we
in
need,
Sixth
yeah,
Street.
I guess that this is fine for a placeholder right now.
So right now, I'm looking for approval of 78,168, and that includes $3,168 already approved for calcium chloride. That will come out of the $166,388 that's available. So we're using up less than half at this moment.
Yeah.
So,
Okay,
so is
I'll
everybody
move, do we need a motion for this, or?
Yeah, we will, and if you're ready, if the board's pleasure, the discussion's over, I would entertain a motion to approve all of the things that we've talked about approving tonight.
Well, with the corrections that you made, I'll move to, you know,
Which correction did I make? The one on
well,
calcium
you're
chloride?
basically taking out the Woodside Lane
Yeah,
overlay,
okay, right,
you know, so that's out. And then we're going with the 600-foot option for First Street,
right,
right? So my motion is for those corrections, I guess, you know.
okay. Would you want me to run through all of them, and then your motion can cover what was said?
That's what we're gonna do.
No, I-
Yes,
I-
yeah.
Okay.
I need to write this down,
What
so.
we're doing is Cedar Street from Main, 200 feet by the post office. First Street,
Agreed.
600 feet from M26, down First Street. Elm Street, one block at 52,000, so we're doing
So the
10,
600
45,
feet-
and 52.
The 600 feet is the
Is an
45,000?
estimated cost
Of
for
40.
a block.
No, I mean, I'm sorry, the First Street to, from M26 on First Street,
Is a 600-foot length,
and that's 45,000?
45,000.
Okay, and the Cedar Street by the post office is the 10,000?
10,000,
Okay, so it's 30,000 is not, okay.
the 30,000 doesn't
And
apply.
then the block is the 52,000.
The block is the 52.
Okay.
So
I
we're
mean, I
looking-
look like if we approve this and we don't end up doing Elm Street, no harm done, no harm done.
Right,
Yeah.
absolutely.
We're also approving Millionaire Street in precinct 4, 600 feet, back from US 41.
Right,
Store Street, 600 feet, back from US 41. And the golf course as a contingent, our share of the corner as defined, $20,000. Is that Mr. Jenke's motion?
That is,
I'll support.
A motion and support for the expenditures just identified relative to road repairs in Osceola Township by precinct. Please note that the $8,000 in Tamarack City was already approved.
let's go.
Any discussion on the motion? Approve the repairs identified. And we'll have a roll call vote on the motion, Ms. Wolf.
Scarger,
Yes.
Mr. Jenke?
Yes.
Mr. Waring?
Yes.
Mr. Hoppercamp?
Yes.
Yes.
Approve the motion unanimously relative to the road repairs in Osceola Township. Brings us to the end of our agenda. Thank you to the audience for joining us for tonight's meeting. Before we adjourn, we'll offer one more opportunity for public comment. Would anybody present like to address the board for up to 3 minutes? Please identify yourself, and the 3 minutes will begin.
My name is Cindy Barth, and I'd like to know if there's going to be a Dollar Bay parade, and is there going to be a Dollar Bay chicken barbecue?
Yes. On both. As of right now.
Will there be Thursday night activities, or usually the night or
Bob,
two
what
before
do we,
activities?
I know that the
Friday.
dates on the tickets are not correct
Thursday,
exactly.
Friday. I mean, I'm sorry,
Friday,
Friday,
Saturday.
Saturday.
It's Friday, Saturday, I think.
Yeah.
Will there be kids' activities as well, like there used to be?
Yeah, that's it, the intention is to
Tickets
have
for
that
them?
stuff, yep.
Thank you. Thank you.
Cindy, anything else?
No.
Thank you very much for your question. Mr. Schmidt?
Yes, I have a question for my earlier comment. I'm requesting a resolution from the township regarding the, Senate Bill 431 and 429. I was wondering if this is something I have to request of the board, or do I put it on the next, for the next month?
I'd like to do a little homework on that before I commit to anything there.
With the board's understanding, then we'll put the issues raised on the agenda for our July meeting for discussion and possible action.
That's fine.
Okay.
Is that satisfactory, Mr. Schmidt?
Yeah, I mean, I just, it's been a while since I've asked for one, so I've forgotten the procedure. So, the other thing I wanted to mention is, groups I belong to are starting to go back to, in-person meetings. And I've realized that, people who are not able to get about or have, hearing difficulties are really, in need of having the ability to use virtual programs such as Zoom for their ability to hear the meetings. So I'm requesting that the township board try to keep all of its meetings virtual as well as in person, as part of what the Open Meetings Act of the state of Michigan indicates should be a proactive move on the part of municipalities. So I just want to, re-emphasize that again, because, when you realize that there's, say you have someone who has a stroke and they can't get around very readily, and they have to rely upon their spouse to take them to meetings, and then you're talking about, say, winter when it's much more difficult to get around, having the ability to have virtual meetings and in-person meetings at the same time, I think is really crucial for citizen participation. And we've been seeing that over the last few years, it's important that citizens be allowed to have the ability to come to meetings, to voice their concerns, and to be able to give up, to allow full participation. So that's the reason why I'm asking for all of this. So it's a combination of being as democratic as possible, democratic being small d, and also that people who don't have the full physical abilities, for whatever reason, are able to participate in the democracy. And we've seen that with the technology that's been used for more than a year now, that it's really quite good, and it allows people to fully hear what's going on and to participate in, say, this type of activity that I'm doing in terms of making a comment. So that's all. Thank you.
You're welcome. Does anyone else have a comment that they would like to offer under public comment? This is the last opportunity for the evening. Hearing none, so we kindly note the time when we close the second public comment. there any other business to come before the board from the board's perspective? If not, a motion to adjourn is in order. Mr. Jenke moves, is there support? Mr. Wareham, all in favor of the motion to adjourn, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We stand adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
And there's that, so I guess we'll give them that, if you wanna give them that. But with a copy, I'll make a copy of that.
And we won't do any other than
I don't think so.
Oh, take care, Cindy.
Thank you.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
I'll take this back. Emmett, can I drop these on tomorrow?
Oh, no problem. That's where I'm at. You guys
I
like?
mean, we could give them back, but then we don't have a.
You said it's
I usually make a copy and drop them on.
Okay.
I don't know where you want.
Normally we'd be at the
I know I
office,
don't have this
Right.
other bit.
Yeah.
because we're not.
Okay, I got it. And that's
do that.
for gravel pits, right?
Right.
Alright,
Okay, thank you.
Statewide control.
Is it just a,
Municipality,
is it
right
bad
now,
or is
has
it?
zoning.
Do you need a date on it?
Any way,
This would.
No.
with the
I
status,
don't
at least,
Goes
we
off.
get something that's, you know,
And
maybe a
with
little
the
cleaner than
second
41
bill,
something,
the 41
put it out there, you know what I mean?
That would put the
Or PDF or something, so we
I
can.
would like.
permitting
No,
in
did
the
I
hands
not
of the
record
state.
it?
No, no, we just
Stop.
started earlier.
Okay.
Right, right, I think that's right.
When they get that, you know, technically,
Everything was one more.
so the whole control that you have by zoning, by citizens, is gone.
Okay, the reason I'm asking
Combined,
is, cause I wanna bring this.
I'd love to say we're gonna be able to put it on GIS someday.
Up at our meeting there for Osceola Township.
Ordinance.
Like Mary Sarah, she doesn't like anything with lands that are trying to control.
Yeah, well, yeah, I know they're, so,
Yeah.
but anyway, but they have passed the Senate, so now it's in the House, so Market is the one that needs to be targeted.
Okay.
So that's the.
We're gonna have three guys running
Yeah,
around.
yeah.
No,
It's
no.
another part of it.
Maybe we could
We
try
haven't
to
done
mark
it,
stuff
right?
out,
Just
so
like
we
now
know
we
we have
Been
stuff
doing
figured
it
here.
for at least 8
Since
years.
we're-
And it's,
You
yeah.
know,
But
there's
it's a nationwide thing.
a rim elevation of the record,
So they could-
a lot of them are
we have a
big
huge
covers that are off on the
That's-
side.
That's what I wanted to get you, so I can bring it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some down there, I know some of them are connected together.
Leaky
You know,
lines
like
and
those
water
ones over by
ordinance,
Stevens,
right?
those are all.
Well done.
Kirkish's yard.
Of course.
I'm glad I didn't cause you a heart attack.
Well, that's
Good, how are you?
one project that-
Yeah,
Yeah, I see
No,
that.
I
That
didn't
one
realize
is-
it was
is-
like that.
is like, why is it-
Thanks for your hospitality, Steve. We'll be on the
So I didn't.
Yeah, I remember you told me that.
If you don't mind, I
Right.
have what,